May 20, 2025. And if you will, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Foley. Absent. Reed.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Vigil.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
That's 8 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Next, I'll turn it over to public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anyone who has public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, I'll move on to consideration of changes to the agenda. Is there a public request to remove a content agenda item and place it on the regular agenda? Seeing none, Vice Mayor, if you can make a motion for changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the following changes to the agenda be approved: to add an executive session to item 19 regarding litigation, Wyoming State Statute 16-4-405, small a, Romanet I, double I, actually.
Triple.
Oh, did I miss it? Triple I.
Second.
I have a motion by Richardson, second by Newman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Vice Mayor, if you can please set the agenda.
I move that the agenda be set as changed.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next, we have a proclamation this evening, and this proclamation is for Building Safety Month. Whereas our city is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are expert in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety. our code officials who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Game On, the theme for Building Safety Month 2025, encourages us all to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Sharon Cumby, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the city of Laramie, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join with us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities and recognize the efforts of all of our city staff toward providing our community with safe homes, buildings, and infrastructures. In witness therefore, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the city to be affixed this 20th day of May 2025. So, is there someone here that would like to come to the podium and speak? Kevin?
Honorable Mayor, council members, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucas Witt. I'm the Chief Building Official for Code Administration. I also have Bryce Lopez, our Electrical Inspector, and Tim Cisneros, Building Inspector. We also have John Hutchison, who is our Permit Tech and couldn't be here tonight. But on behalf of the Code Administration, thank you for bringing this proclamation forward. As it states in the proclamation, building safety is a vital part of our community and the whole nation, really. But we just want to say thank you, and if there's any questions, just let us know.
Okay. First, let me ask, do one of you all have a camera?
I do.
Okay. Would you all like to come up for a picture with council?
Yes, please.
Okay. And I'll give you your proclamation, so. Yes, it just swings right open. Thank you, Lucas, for all your work. Thank you. Mr. Cisneros, thank you.
Hi, good to see Tim. Hi. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll move around you all. Yeah, yeah.
I got you.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate your work.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Beatty, if you can please read the public hearing.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Council Chambers, via Zoom meeting for the following purpose. 1, original ordinance number 2105, amending Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 2.28, related to the Parks, Tree, and Recreation Advisory Board. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's Office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting via Zoom.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at this time on this public hearing? Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. And let's see, Assistant City Manager Feeser, were you going to make any announcements about our staff recognition?
Honorable Mayor, I think it was the city manager that was going to do that.
Oh, there's the city manager. She's on now.
Hi there.
City Manager Jordan, thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Welcome. So we're beginning announcements, and you have an announcement about our monthly staff recognition?
I do. And prior to that, Mayor, we have two other staff announcements this evening. The first will be made by Eric Japp, our city engineer, with respect to National Public Works Week.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Japp.
Thank you, Your Honorable Mayor and members of council. I'm honored to announce that this week, May 18th through the 24th, the City of Laramie joins communities across North America in celebrating the 65th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. This year's theme is People, Purpose, and Presence, and this highlights the essential role public works professionals play in our daily lives. They are the backbones of our community, ensuring that our infrastructure and services operate seamlessly. From the water we drink to the roads we travel, their dedication often goes unnoticed, yet their presence is vital. In Laramie, our Public Works Department encompasses a diverse team of professionals across various divisions, including streets, fleet, solid waste, utilities, engineering, and GIS. And these individuals work tirelessly to help maintain and improve our city's infrastructure, contributing to the health, safety, and quality of life for all residents. As we observe National Public Works Week, we encourage all citizens to recognize and appreciate the contributions of these dedicated professionals. Their unwavering commitment ensures that our community remains resilient, sustainable, and vibrant. As we observe National Public Works Week, please take a moment to recognize their indispensable contributions. Our city cannot function without them, and their efforts reflect a deep commitment to public service and community well-being. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Japp.
Thank you, and congratulations to our Public Works folks. They are definitely the backbone of the community. Mayor, our second announcement is from our airport director, Amy Terrell, and she's in the room there with you this evening.
Welcome, Director Terrell.
Thank you, Mayor Cumby, council members. I wanted to bring you some fun facts about the Real ID program that the city of Laramie. Oh, now can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
That the city of Laramie rolled out. This month we rolled out Real ID, which is the star on your driver's license if you wanted to travel. They don't track it necessarily by Laramie. I know we had two individuals that did not have the Real ID. They both were able to travel. They just get some additional security members or some security directives. And out of all the states, Wyoming ranked at 99.6%. So we are right at the top, almost full compliance. In Jackson Hole and Laramie, one of the things they talk about is we all have passports here. So there are a lot of passports that qualify instead of the Real ID on your driver's license. Wyoming is a state that is actually changing. Old license used to have a star, a yellow star up in the corner. They're now transitioning to a black star. But I did want to let you know that we have rolled that out with Transportation Security Administration. It went very well. Only two people that had to have additional screening. So just wanted to.
Thank you. We appreciate your coming and giving that report.
Thank you.
City
And Mayor,
Manager.
thank you. If you're ready, I believe Joseph Shahidi is with us this evening. I think he's in the room there. I can't see the full breadth of the room on the video.
He
But
is
I'm
present.
really. Oh, fantastic. Very good. So, Joseph, I'm excited to be able to talk a little bit about you this evening. Joseph Shahidi is our Employee of the Month, or our rock star, as we like to say. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Joseph, and then he can speak to you himself as well. He was nominated by two of his coworkers, nominated by Code Administration Building Permit and License Technician John Hutchison, who said that Joseph is really the go-to guy in the Code Administration and Planning section who has given so much of his time to help fix issues as part of the software transition, that this section of the city just went through. He was co-nominated by planning manager Philip Gabatuller, who said that Joseph really has exceptional customer skills, and he echoed John's appreciation for the work that Joseph does. So a little bit about Joseph. He is a two-time graduate of the University of Wyoming. He realized after completing his first degree that he had an interest in planning and decided to go back to the university for a second bachelor's degree in geography. He also interned with the city of Laramie in the planning division from 2017 to 18, and he came on board as a full-time employee with us in May of 2022. Joseph says he really appreciates and enjoys helping citizens maneuver the permitting processes for projects that occur in the city limits, and he really enjoys the detail, and the amount of time that he has to analyze situations and coordinate with the city citizens, developers, and others in the community. And he likes working through those processes, although he acknowledges that they can be pretty challenging. So we're very happy to have people on staff who appreciate and enjoy working through what can be sometimes very complex planning processes. And we appreciate the work he does to help the citizens and developers navigate those processes also. Joseph grew up mostly in Cheyenne, so he's a Wyoming fellow, and we're very fortunate to have landed him as part of our full-time staff in Laramie. He was a high school swimmer, so he likes to swim sometimes on his days off and recreate up at Happy Jack or Pole Mountain, and also a little bit of cooking, I hear, so we'll have to maybe learn more. Joseph, we really appreciate the work you do and being able to have you as a colleague. And I'll let you introduce yourself to the council, although they are familiar with your face, of course, from seeing you in council many Tuesday evenings.
Thank you, City Manager. And Joseph, I'd just like to add, not only are you excellent in customer service, but also in counselor service as well. You're always patient and open to our coming to you with and have creative ideas. And I've really appreciated seeing you as you all are engaging with the public in these public meetings. So thank you so much for your work and everything you do.
Thank you all.
Would you like to come up and have a picture with council? Do you have something to say to us, please?
For sure. I'll keep it short and sweet, but Honorable Mayor,
We're happy
Council,
to hear from you.
Thank you so much for this honor, and I look forward to working with you more in the future. I believe that this council I haven't worked with as much as the previous council, but you will certainly be seeing more of me as we go through a lot of these long-range processes and other planning projects. So thank you very much.
Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to recognize Joseph. I think it was my first city planning commission meeting where I walk in and I turn on my laptop and I don't have internet service and I can't figure it out. And I hadn't even known him for a minute, and he grabbed me and took me over to IT and we got it all handled, and it was like, just, not even thinking about it. He just did it. So that's my first impression. And he's kept it up. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Come on up, Joseph. Again, congratulations. Council, are there any disclosures and/or conflicts of interest? Seeing none, Vice Mayor, if you can do the approval of the consent agenda, please.
Great, thank you. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Vigil. Ms. Beatty, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Aye.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Richardson.
Aye.
Cumby.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent.
Yep, motion passes. Next, we'll turn to the regular agenda. Item 11, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to award the bid for construction of the Ivinson Infrastructure Upgrades Phase 1 project to Simon Contractors of Laramie, Wyoming in the amount of $1,074,464.50 with a contingency of $107,535.50 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the contract.
Second.
Motion by Lockhart, second by Richardson. Good evening, Mr. Jack.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, members of council. This is a continuation of the Sea Line project that we've been working on over the last few years. Last year, we were working along 6th Street. The phase that's before you tonight is from 6th Street to approximately 9th Street along Ivinson. And then the next phase that we'll be looking at in the coming years is 9th to 15th Street. The project before you tonight will be replacing and upgrading the sewer line that is in Ivinson. While it's not a full reconstruction of the road, we will be putting down a new road surface here. We're going to be doing some milling and overlaying and some edge milling to try to improve kind of some of the slopes there and make that surface look better, and also be upgrading to ADA ramps is there as well. With that, I can answer any questions you may have on the project.
Councilors, questions? Councilor O'Doherty?
When you come out from between Knight Hall and Hoyt Hall onto Ivinson, there's such a dip that in the winter, if I get down in there, it's hard to get back, so you have to get enough traction to get going before another car comes down the road. Will this help reduce that? Is that what you're talking about?
So, Honorable Mayor, this section is from 6th to 9th. Next year will be 9th to 15th.
Okay,
but
sorry,
in line with that, we are actually looking at that and working with our consultant to try to help fix all the grades. We are aware of all the grade issues going on 9th to 15th, and we are working with that. We also are working a little bit here from 6th to 9th. If you ever go out there, some of the slopes next to the curb are pretty steep and everything, so we're trying to improve those the best we can without getting into like a full reconstruction, which wasn't the intent of this, but definitely we'll have a better surface in this area as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. Ivinson was just redone, part of it, when they built a new parking garage for the UW employees and police, and that seems pretty nice. Is any of that going to be affected since the street seems to be already handled?
Yeah, Mayor, through you. This project won't affect it. The next phase project will end up probably tearing out a lot of that concrete. When that was put in, we realized that was going to probably end up becoming sacrificial and had noted that to the university. The biggest reason being is the replacement of the utility lines under there. And we tried to actually get in there and correct that prior to that work going on. But unfortunately, we have multiple sewer lines running through there. And as we're working through this, we're kind of combining those into one. But trying to, I believe that section either has 3 or 4 sewer lines that all kind of join at one point in time, and also gas and water. So we actually were very hopeful we were going to be able to get in there, but just with kind of how everything had to tie in and work, we just weren't able to get in there and fix the utilities prior to that work. So we are going to be able to keep the 10th and 11th. So part of that project, we do have a water line we'll be looking at when we go into this next phase, and there's some connectivity that we're doing. And as we worked with the university on that 10th and 11th, we stubbed those out far enough into Ivinson that we won't have to touch 10th and 11th, but Ivinson will have to be worked on. Hopefully we can keep some of the curb and gutter and some of that in there, but we will have to take that out.
Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Japp, just a quick question. Have there been any penalties for this contractor on previous projects that have not been paid?
Your Honorable Mayor, through you, are you mentioning, just for clarification, like for like liquidated damages and things like that associated with projects, or?
Specifically on delays on the East Side Tank project, as I think they had a contract.
Yeah, Your Honorable Mayor, through you. So currently Simon's contractor is incurring liquidated damages on that project. We're currently removing them throughout the pay apps as we're paying those.
Thank you. Further questions?
I guess I have a follow-up.
Vice Mayor Richardson?
A follow-up to Councilor Shumway's question there, which leads to, is there concern that there would be some issue moving into this, working with this contractor?
Your Honorable Mayor, through you, so we actually met with Simon Contractors prior to awarding this, or recommending award to the council. At that, Simon Contractors did assure us that they have made quite a few changes to how they operate and how their structure is working with that. So hopefully, we can see some improvements with this project. The second bid, as you kind of see in here, was pretty substantially higher for that. So that also kind of waved into some of those discussions as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, return to council. Are there any comments? Councilor Newman.
Just appreciate staff taking our goals that we had this time and like running with them and putting a good chunk of money into our street system and infrastructure.
Thank you. Any? Councilor Freed.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Director Japp. I just want to say I think Traffic Safety Commission and some of our goals on council we're gonna be really pleased for some of those ADA upgrades and asphalt. I know that's not the main scope of the project, but really excited to see that that's going to be taken into consideration as this is getting done. So really excited to see that. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no further comment, Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 12, Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Amendment Number 6 to the Professional Engineering Services Agreement with Tri-Hydro Corporation for construction management and contract administration services associated with the Ivinson Infrastructure Upgrades Phase 1 project in the amount of $156,896 with a contingency of $16,104 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Vigil, second by O'Doherty. Welcome, Mr. Jim.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council. So this is for the construction management and construction administration services for the project we actually just discussed with Tri-Hydro. I have noticed we've had some questions kind of coming up on construction management and what that administration is. So I just wanted to take just a brief moment and let you know kind of what we use that. So this is professional services. Many times we'll hire the engineer who designed the project to work with us and assist the engineering division in managing the capital infrastructure during the construction phase. So these services are used to help augment city staff capacity, ensure effective day-to-day oversight of the projects. Many times what this typically could be is monitoring contractor progress and construction activities to help ensure adherence to project plan specification and timelines. They help maintain detailed construction documentation, including daily logs, photographic records, submittals, and pay application tracking. So they're out there monitoring day to day. We just don't have the staffing to, with all the projects that we run, of actually just monitoring that day to day and kind of our eyes in the field. We do have our inspector who's going out at key critical moments and doing the testing and everything, but they're just kind of out there monitoring for us. They help with reviewing schedules, RFIs or requests for information, change order requests, and also help providing input to help maintain that project scope and budget. As I noted, they help also with on-site observations to identify and address potential conflicts or concerns early in the process. And they serve as a consistent field presence, providing continuity and experience oversight when staff resources are limited or stretched across multiple projects. And then at the end of the project, since it's usually the engineering firm that was on record, they help us kind of complete those as-builts. We review those and work with them along with the contractor, but they complete those, and any changes are then submitted to DEQ on like a utility project. So in essence, you know, when we say CMCA services, they're serving as an extension of city staff, allowing us to more effectively manage the delivery of public infrastructure improvements while maintaining quality, efficiency, and accountability throughout the construction process. So just wanted to take a moment and kind of explain a little bit, since we've had some questions recently on that. So if there's any other questions on this, I can answer it.
Thank you, and I appreciate your going into that explanation. And it became quite evident when you were giving your report during our budget sessions of the work and accomplishments of the division, how engaged you are with every division. Councilors, questions for Mr. Jebb? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council. Final comments? Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 13, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move that the City Council approve Resolution 2025-44, amending the appropriations for fiscal year 2025 to 2026 biennial budget, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by O'Doherty, second by Vigil. Good evening, Director Bork.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The resolution before you tonight has got 2 parts, so I'll give an explanation on both. The first appropriation amendment that we're asking for is to add the UV filter replacement to our existing sand pool filter replacement project, which you awarded several months ago and is getting ready to kick off here in end of August, beginning of September. The UV system at the pools, we don't have one for the outdoor pool because the sun does the job to the ultraviolet sanitization, but on our 3 indoor water systems, the indoor leisure pool, the 8-lane lap pool, and then the whirlpool, of the 3, one is basically completely failed. The other 2 are having more and more maintenance issues, and because this is a 20-year-old system, we're having additional difficulties finding replacement parts, especially at a less expensive cost. And so we had originally had this as an amendment to the as a supplemental request for the supplemental budget, and we were going to try and do it sometime in the next fiscal year. But in talking with our contractor for the pool sand filter replacement, since that whole filter room is going to be getting torn out and essentially completely gutted while we're putting the new sand filters in, it made sense to look at trying to move that project up. And so that's this request for $200,000 to add that onto the existing project. We anticipate that it's not going to extend the shutdown time, which we anticipate to be about 3 weeks while that project goes on. So unfortunately, all of the pools are going to be have to be drained and shut down while we replace the sand and UV system. But for the public's knowledge, and just to refresh you, the UV system is important for several reasons. It provides sanitization beyond what chlorine can often do, and definitely beyond what sand does, which sand just really filters out the media. The chlorine handles some sanitizing, but there are certain things that are chlorine resistant and just aren't effectively handled. And the UV, passing all of the water in our pool systems through UV light definitely helps with that. The other thing that it does is it reduces the burden of the chlorine system, and we don't wind up having to use as much chlorine. For anybody that walks into the pool and feels that their eyes might be a little burny or it smells like pool, that's actually the chloramines. It's the breakdown of the chlorine in the water, and by using less chlorine, we're going to have less chloramines, which just winds up making even just better air quality. So that's the first the request that we're putting in, is to move that project up and get that done at the end of this summer. The second one I'm equally excited about. This is a ThorGuard lightning detection system. Currently out at our ball fields, at the Undyne wading pool or splash pad, the Washington Park wading pool, and at our outdoor pool at the rec center. We use a web app that is a radar-based lightning prediction system. But really, it's just predicting, showing where strikes are out in the area, but doesn't really give us a real safe system, and as safe of a system as I would like. What I'm proposing is to add the ThorGuard lightning detection system, which uses both radar and its main detection system is detecting the amount of static electricity or static energy in the air, which gives a much more accurate system of prediction. And it really, what I really like about it though is it goes beyond just the prediction, and what it does is it takes a lot of the guesswork out of our staff out in the parks when ball games are going on, or when the wading pool is in operation, or the splash pad is in operation, or the outdoor pool. So this system would actually have a control base unit here, probably on our tower outside City Hall, and then we have 6 repeater locations that would be covered out at West Laramie, at Kiwanis Park, at Labonte Park where the ball fields are, Cowboy Fields, so covering kind of Cowboy Field, the Little League fields, and the soccer fields, as well as I mentioned Undyne, Washington, and then the outdoor pool at the rec center. What it is it's a very loud, somewhat obnoxious siren that will go off along with a strobe, and when the ThorGuard system detects that there's lightning activity in the area or the potential, it'll send out a 15-second, which if you have never heard a 15-second siren go off, that's a fairly long time, a 15-second siren, and a strobe light that'll start operating at that time. That's going to be a good signal. We'll have signs in all of those locations letting the public know what those sirens mean. We'll also be able to schedule the timing on that, so it won't be going off at 1 o'clock in the morning for neighborhoods in the area. We'll time it to, as late as the latest games and operation of the facilities. But the other powerful part of that too is it takes some of the guesswork out. When the system does go off, it'll actually automatically shut down the splash pad at Undyne. It'll shut down the wading pool or the mushroom and system at Washington Park, as well as the outdoor pool. And then when the all clear is detected, there will be 3 5-second short blasts to let the public know that there's an all clear, and the systems will turn back on. And so for what I consider to be a fairly relatively low investment, I think it's a really worthwhile system to obviously nothing is 100% guarantee of safety, but really increasing the safety of both our participants at all of our aquatic outdoor areas as well as our ball fields. And so with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Counselor Newman?
What's the projected life of each of these systems? And if it's in here, I'm sorry if I missed it, but.
Honorable Mayor, through you, we're purchasing the system. I can tell you I've had ThorGuard systems in other parks that were well over 10 years old. And so, and we're still going strong. Now, the software that's used, and I failed to mention, if I may, that there's an app associated with ThorGuard that not only our staff will be able to use, but members of the public will actually be able to have that on their phones as well. So if they question, well, the sky is clear, why is the alarm going off? They can actually get onto the app and actually see what's causing the system. So there will be upgrades to the software, I'm guessing, but the system is pretty darn durable from everything that I've seen.
Okay, and then follow up.
Follow up?
The UV part of the pool filter, what's the
sorry.
life of that one?
Honorable Mayor, through you. That should be, there's a 5-year warranty on it, but really with regular maintenance and care, and I will be bringing in 2026 a maintenance contract for that. It should last us 15 to 20 years.
Counselor O'Doherty?
Thank you, Director Bork. How about did I hear you say you'd be closing all of the pools for that filter replacement? So even the outdoor pools?
Honorable Mayor, through you. So we're going to be starting the installation. It's scheduled for the last week in August. So the outdoor pool, as far as I'm aware, should already be shut down right around that time. And then, yes, we will have to shut down all 3 of the indoor systems while that's going on.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. Thanks, Director Bork. You said you had used the Thor system elsewhere. Were there ever concerns for people or kiddos with sensitivities to the 15-second loudness and strobe lights?
Honorable Mayor, through you, potentially. It's not a ear-shattering blast. It is designed to get your attention, and the siren can be heard from about 600 to 800 yards away. We want to get people's attention. That is the point. But I've not heard really of anyone having concerns with that sensitivity, though I can't rule it out.
Councilor O'Doherty, you had another question?
Yeah, I wonder if the university might want to take advantage of us having that detector for the golf course or for their fields. Is that something we could offer, or would that cost us money or something?
Honorable Mayor, through you, it would be a matter of if they wanted to either tie into our system, and there would be additional cost. Each remote unit has a cost associated with it. I'm certainly willing to reach out to them and see if they would be interested. Wouldn't even have to be added on right away. It can be added on, kind of as we need. As we anticipate, there may be areas in our park system that we may want to add on in the future. This was kind of our first go.
Councilor Newman?
If there's no activities happening at the park, could these be not used, or could they be shut off during that time?
Honorable Mayor, through you, we have infinite flexibility in scheduling. So, during hours that our outdoor pool systems are operating, absolutely. Really, my thought on the parks, so say for Levante, it's not just covering the Levante ball fields, but it's also covering the playground and the shelters, the skate park, all of those areas that are there. So I would recommend that during, heavy, storm season, we would have them on during most of the day when people are going to be out there playing. But we can schedule it to not be happening as well.
Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Bork, question I have is this. Having been involved with Little League, my recollection is when we saw a lightning strike within a mile, there'd be a 30-minute delay. And that was usually determined by the umpires. The question I have is this. I think this is a great system. Does it detect lightning a mile away or further? And if it's further, how long is I know you said there's a short, 5-time thing to say all clear, you can go back to playing, but is it turned off? Once it does that first 15-second blast, is it turned off until it's all clear? And then if it isn't, that's going to be a lot of blasts every time there's a lightning strike.
Honorable Mayor, through you. The 15-second blast is just a one-time blast to let everybody know to take cover. The strobe light that is on the where the horn is will continue to go throughout the time that the alarm is going on. So people will be able to, pardon me, look to the strobe light and see if there's still an alarm. To your question about range, we can actually set the effective range, and lightning can travel a long distance. So 1 mile is way too short of a distance. By the time you're seeing a lightning strike, it's really often way too late to be trying to get everybody under cover. Where that is right now, I believe our current range that we have set for our web app is about 10 miles out. This system, because it's using the static energy detection, it's a little bit different, and I'd have to go back and ask the manufacturer, the dealer, but it's on like a 5-point scale. So 1 being all clear, 5 being you really need to take cover right now. I believe the system goes off at level 3, and then when it goes back down to level 2 and 1 is when it will send out the all clear signal to indicate that that range that we've set it doesn't show any potential lightning strikes. But to answer your question, no, the siren will not continually go off at each lightning strike. It's really to let everybody know the lightning potential is in the area and you need to take cover and be safe.
Further questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council. Any comments? Councilor O'Doherty.
It wasn't until I was driving over here that I realized the name Thorgard, the god of thunder. So that's cool.
Other comments? Councilor Freed. Up.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, there you go.
Good. Thank you, Director Bork. I just want to highlight the attention to safety in both of these items and really appreciate the attention to safety for our community. Well, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 14, Councilor Richardson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I move to approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Laramie, Wyoming, the Laramie Main Street Alliance, and the Downtown Development Authority for the Downtown Development Plan, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by O'Doherty. Welcome, Mr. Gabatuller.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. Tonight we're bringing before you the MOU between the City of Laramie, the Laramie Main Street Alliance, and the Downtown Development Authority to initiate an update of the Downtown Development Plan. The original plan was completed in 2011, and in the nearly 15 years since, as we all know, much has changed, both in the downtown environment and in our goals as a community. With the recent reestablishment of the Downtown Development Authority, now is the right time to revisit and modernize this guiding document. This MOU will formalize our partnership and commitment to collaborate on the plan update, which will focus on the physical development of the district, major revitalization initiatives, and guidance on establishing a potential tax levy to support the DDA as permitted by the Wyoming state statutes on the subject. The updated plan will include common elements such as streetscape design, parking strategies, pedestrian access, infill and redevelopment opportunities, and overall urban design improvements to help guide public and private investment. We'll also provide a clear implementation framework, which we all love in planning documents, that reflects current priorities and economic conditions. As such, the city has allocated $63,000 for this effort, and once the MOU is signed by all parties, we will begin the consultant selection process. As staff, we recommend approval of the MOU, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. Councilors, questions? Councilor Newman?
My HR side came out when I was reading this. So on page 2 of the MOU, under payment, could you just clarify, because it says the parties agree to share the cost of this, but yet they are paying 0 and we're paying 63.
Honorable Mayor, through you, and right below that, it does say the parties may contribute more to the project than noted in this section as additional funding becomes available. So that's a common, I think, addition to an MOU like this, given that we as a city, we can allocate funds, but their boards have not perhaps had the chance to do that yet. And as mentioned as well, the Downtown Development Authority is kind of getting back on its feet. But I can't speak directly to why they're not contributing at the moment, other than there is a clause saying they may as funds become available, for what it's worth.
Vice Mayor Richardson.
If I may speak to the
Please.
I believe this was modeled on a previous MOU when Laramie Main Street was able to contribute. However, the funding source that Laramie Main Street had is no longer available. And so this is a plan. This will ultimately be the city's plan that we are utilizing Main Street and Downtown Development Authority to help build and guide. But with the majority of this, I would think, the RFQ will help determine this will be citizen input to say what they would like in the downtown, but making sure that Main Street and DDA are a part of this, this facilitation of the update, I think is important to making sure it's done well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate your comments as liaison to these organizations. Further questions? Thank you, Philip. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, back to, Chris.
Christopher Stratton, Laramie 24/7. On the aspect of the Downtown Alliance, etc., the pure factor of the amount of money that the city gives towards the downtown compared to everywhere else and the business alliance for the entire city, it's amazing that we are willing to waste so much money on 6 blocks whenever we don't have good jobs coming from it. We don't have the return on investment of funds, our tax dollar funds, for downtown, because literally it's bars and it's restaurants, and that's about it. And all of those have jobs that are minimum wage tip jobs. We need to look at better job options and better use of city funds than supporting a small 6-block radius. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton. Any further public comment? Seeing none, back to council for comments. Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. In regarding to Councilor Newman's comment and Vice Mayor's comment on number 3 on the payment, if it does say 0 and we don't know if Laramie Main Street Alliance or the DDA is going to share any cost in it, shouldn't that be changed to not say that we're going to agree if they don't have a number in there? We don't know how much they're going to share. Do we understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand, because that was my concern.
I mean, if we're the only one putting money up towards this, the city, and they are not, but it says they agree to share, I think we should have a number that they're going to share before we agree upon this, or we strike that, and then we put our amount down, and then keep the parties may contribute more.
Councilor Newman?
I think that's the part I was struggling on, and I think this would be a good time that we could ask the city attorney his thoughts on this.
Or the city manager?
Yeah.
Who would like to take those questions or comments?
My thoughts in what regard, Councilor?
So, because it does say share the cost, so they, if I'm reading this contract right, how I would read this is, sooner or later, they have to give us some money for this $63,000, because it's, once we sign this, this does say the parties agreed to share the cost.
No, I see entirely what you're saying. I wasn't involved in negotiating this. I suspect this language comes from different kinds of contracts, where then there is money listed for each party. I think it's awkward as written. I mean, the DDA doesn't have any money, right? So they're not going to contribute anything. They don't have a source of funds. Laramie Main Street, I don't know. It sounds like other councilors know more. So if we're going to, I can understand wanting to change it, but I think then it should be, I think the easiest way is to direct staff to rewrite that paragraph to reflect reality. Unless what I don't know is whether there's some time constraint, whether we need to do this now or when.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Richardson.
Having kind of worked with both of these groups to get to an MOA, which is, or an MOU, sorry, which has been a while coming, is it possible, City Attorney, to simply strike the city will issue an invoice, or just say payment? So strike that first sentence. Payment, Laramie Main Street Alliance, 0. City of Laramie, Wyoming, 63,000. Downtown Development Authority, 0. Parties may contribute more to the project than noted in the section if additional funding becomes available. This does not change anything for those two parties, Laramie Main Street and Downtown Development Authority. And so I would feel very comfortable thinking both of the groups would be okay with this, because it isn't changing anything for them. It's just removing that language to make this more clear. And if that is possible, I would move to delete the parties agree to share the cost of the professional services necessary to complete the project as follows, and city will issue an invoice for payment to the parties upon completion of the project.
Second.
So we have, yes, Mr. Southern.
I think it might be easier to say that parties agree to share the cost of the professional services as follows, :
Great.
Oh.
I would take that as a friendly amendment from the city attorney.
So we have a motion by Richardson, second by O'Doherty.
And do we need to repeat that for you all?
Yeah.
With the recording and my notes, thank you.
Okay.
So
Is there any city manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize. My hand's still up. I was going to suggest a friendly amendment to correct the text, but you guys are all over it, so I'm going to put my hand down. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Councilor Shumway?
I'm still not clear. We've heard that this money will be going for projects, and I've also heard it's going to go for studies. I don't know who is going to manage the funds. Will it be Main Street? DDA doesn't seem to have any, they have not in the past raised money for items such as this, and I don't believe the city has provided them funds. The money's been provided to Main Street, but I don't think we have had annual funds going to DDA. So I just want to have it clear, is this an ongoing request, and will it be managed by Main Street? And is it for projects, or is it for a study?
Vice Mayor.
And I'm happy to answer this unless City Manager, you would like to. Okay. So this would be a study by the city. So this ultimately would end up being the city's downtown update to the plan. We feel like making sure Main Street and the Downtown Development Authority are involved in that plan, but ultimately this will land in the city's office as a city plan and will be used as a guide, just as the old one has for the last 15 years. And so if that's, City Manager, if you have additions to how I explained that, would be, I'd sure appreciate your thoughts.
No, that's perfect. Just to be clear, Council, it has been 15 years since we had our plan for the downtown, so I think it is due for a refresher. And recognizing that both of those entities, Main Street and DDA, are interested in doing that, it makes sense for us to coordinate that and work with and across those agencies. This will be handled out of the planning office, and I know Philip's there. He can add anything he would like to. Derek Taney's been working with the two groups as the Community and Economic Development Director. Councilor Shumway, we will issue a request for proposal, just like we would for any study or plan that the city is undertaking, and we'll manage that process. We'll just work with the two downtown groups to make sure that the outcome of that plan and study is something that everybody can agree on, including the city and our two primary downtown agencies. There is the potential, I think, as well, that the update of this plan could form it could meet the statutory requirement for a DDA to have a plan for the physical development of the downtown. And so that would be a step forward for the DDA and give them also a plan that they've never had to enable them to maybe be more proactive into the future as compared to the past.
Thank you, City Manager. Councilor, yes, Councilor Newman.
Just to remind staff, there's a motion on the table, so we should only talk about the amendment instead of everything else.
And I do have a request from Councilor O'Doherty.
I should just state it.
That we've gone through a lot of discussion and some back and forth and changes. Councilor Richardson, if you could withdraw the motion, Councilor O'Doherty, I think, will agree and restate as we've changed it.
Do you want me to withdraw or just restate it?
I think we have to. I
think you have to withdraw it.
Which would take a vote. But if she restates.
Well, then I just restate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she could withdraw without.
It would take a withdrawal takes a council majority.
But I'm happy to restate the motion.
Restate the motion.
The parties agreed to share the cost of the professional services necessary to complete the project as follows. And hold on, I got to remember where we changed that. Can you help me, please, City Attorney? Thank you.
I think what you're trying to say is you just put a colon after as follows and strike the rest of that paragraph.
Thank you. So the parties agree to share the cost of the professional services necessary to complete the project as follows, striking, and city will issue an invoice for payment to the parties upon completion of the project.
Second agrees.
Wait, Say that one more time.
The parties agreed to share the cost of the professional services necessary to complete the project as follows, : and then strike, and city will issue an invoice for payment to the parties upon completion of the project.
And our second, so I have a motion from Richardson, second by O'Doherty. Any further discussion? Is there any public comment on the amendment to the original motion? Seeing none, back to council. Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please. This is on the motion.
On the
amendment.
I mean, on the amendment, sorry. That's what I meant.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Humby.
Yes,
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
thank you. The amendment passes, and now back to the motion. Counselor Newman.
Sorry, I don't have a question, I have a comment, so I need to save it.
Okay, are there any other questions on the motion? So I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, back to council for comment. Counselor Newman?
I appreciate all the work that is done to this. There's still a lot in this document that I have concerns about. One of them says something to the effect of Main Street agrees to consider. And I don't like language like that because that is showing that, hey, we might spend this money and Main Street might go a different way. However, I know that this has been a long time coming. And when I came in tonight, I was not going to support this. But I think that now that we've made some changes and this is probably the best draft that we will get. And this will move forward some work. But I wanted to stress, I'm not 100% happy with it because we can spend some money and they decide to do something else. And then some of the responsibility roles in here, I think, are kind of muddy, but I will support this.
Counselor O'Doherty?
But it's the city that decides how it's the city regulations that are being addressed with this. So I'm not concerned that Main Street's going to go off and do something else because it's how our city handles downtown, if I understand that correctly.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's thoughts and comments on this. As many of you know, this has been a lot of working to get these two groups to come together and kind of, I think having this in place will give us a really strong path forward. I think they both, when Director Cheney was at the meeting last night, he really emphasized that no one is going to get everything they want and that there will be compromise and we will need to find a path forward and that ultimately we will get feedback from community members to help guide and lead this and really lean on that feedback from community members. But I really believe that the DDA and Laramie Main Street have really strong groups right now. They are both very focused on just making downtown stronger and looking for a solid path forward. And I think this is going to be really helpful for that. So I appreciate the consideration of it.
Thank you. Other comments? Counselor Shumway?
Thank you, Mayor. It concerns me that Main Street, that has funds, does not participate in the study. It also, I think it's notable that DDA is not the only group that has ever been a part of the vision for the downtown. There's also Historic Downtown. I believe there's another one. They're not included in this agreement. I wish that there had been some skin in the game from Main Street. Obviously, there's not going to be with this motion. I, with Councilor Newman, do not agree with everything that's being put forward, but this is a city study, and I think that there will be a lot of good that comes from it. We have staff that have indicated that they are in favor of this, so I too will support it, but I wish that we would have more individual groups that would come forward and say, this is something we really want, and so here's what we're willing to put forward to make this study happen.
Thank you. With no further comment, Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Yes.
O'Doherty. Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 15, Councilor Newman.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2102 on first reading, amending Laramie Municipal Code Title 15.22 to permit modifications to non-conforming billboards as shown in the ordinance attachment in accordance with facts of finding and conclusions of law.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion by Newman, second by Lockhart. Welcome, Mr. Gamatuller.
Yes, good evening again, Honorable Mayor, members of council. And although this is now the third time this ordinance has come before you on first reading, I want to emphasize that staff's position remains unchanged. We continue to recommend denial of this proposed text amendment to Chapter 1522 of Laramie Municipal Code, which would allow non-conforming static billboards to be converted to digital billboards within the city limits. We've all had the opportunity to review and discuss this proposal at previous readings of this ordinance, as well as during the joint work session with the Planning Commission. But for the benefit of the public, I'd like to briefly summarize again. The proposed ordinance would allow, among other criteria in the ordinance, one of the main ones is that the proposed ordinance would allow one static billboard to be removed in exchange for one digital billboard, subject to things such as height, size, and lighting restrictions. 2, while these restrictions aim to minimize impacts, the proposal still represents a pretty large departure from Laramie's longstanding policy of phasing out non-conforming signs and billboards over time. 3, staff's concerns remain rooted in the visual impact, the erosion of sign control policies, and conflicts with adopted planning documents, including our comprehensive plan. And lastly, this ordinance is not tied to a broader public need or demonstrable hardship. It's driven by private interest, and if approved, could set a precedent for further erosion of our signage standards as they currently stand. So we appreciate your thoughtful deliberation thus far, but we continue to recommend denial as staff, and I welcome any questions.
Questions? Councilor O'Doherty?
If we make a change for non-conforming billboards, doesn't that also set a precedent for non-conforming buildings, like buildings that don't meet ADA requirements, but they're kind of grandfathered in? It's more than billboards in my point of view, or do you think that I'm off base? Thank you.
So, Honorable Mayor, through you, Chapter 1522 does speak to non-conforming structures as well. So this text amendment is for a section that isn't even present yet in that non-conformities chapter, which would be for the billboards. But there's other sections in there, structures, parking lots, other signs, not billboards, but other signs of other types like pole signs and such, So I would say it doesn't have a direct relationship to, you know, whether a structure is considered non-conforming. That would need to be altered because there's currently already language for that. So I would just say that this is specific to billboards only.
Further questions? Okay. I'll turn it over for public comment. Is there any public comment on this agenda item?
Someone coming.
Good evening.
Christopher Stratton, Laramie 24/7. On this, yes, it's the billboards, and yes, there is a public need for it. The capabilities of cheaper advertisement for all of the businesses downtown, including the Downtown Alliance, should be pushing towards this. This is nonconformity in the end of the old school ends of things. Cheyenne, we want to be like Cheyenne. Denver, we kind of want to be like Denver, especially with businesses, etc. The factor that it's going to reduce the price for nonprofits, reduce the price for small businesses, etc. This is something that we all want and need, and the aspect that they're going to give City Council a spot to use, that in itself is free advertisement for you guys. It gets more people to hear. It can get more people to Parks and Rec if there's something going on. This is something that we should be very for and not trying to gatekeep. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Back to council for comments. Councilor O'Doherty.
I want to point out that there's only one set of signs on 3rd that have lights right now. So anything that's added will be adding light. And I forgot my other point, but I just want to point that out. Thanks.
Councilor Newman.
So whether this gets approved or denied, obviously this is first reading, so if it gets denied, it doesn't come back. And I know during all our work sessions that we talked about, there were some amendments that were being brought up and whatever. I'll say that I'm going to support it to approve it just so we can go to a second reading. But I do have some concerns. The lighting is one of them. I also, back home in our last work session, I talked about how they had billboards throughout, like Topeka, Kansas, for instance. When I went back last time, I drove through Topeka because I heard that they went to some digital billboards, kind of like we were thinking about. I like what they did there. They are digital now, and they're just like Lamar has presented. However, they are a third of the size, so they are a lot smaller now. And so I'm wondering if we could look into something to that effect, because now it's helping some of our goals, getting rid of them, but realistically, it's going to make them smaller than what they are now, right? And so I would support this just so we can see if there are some amendments for second reading. If not, then it gets denied there, because I would like to bring an amendment for changing the size to these billboards, which I think would help.
Further comment?
Councilor Freed.
Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Councilor Newman. Appreciate your comments. I will go out and say that I will not be supporting this, and that one of my main reason is that there's been so much back and forth without clarity, and that if we do want to find some sort of resolution down the line, that can be presented as a separate topic to City Council, and it can be addressed. But at this point, my feelings are that there hasn't been enough clarity. And if we're going to keep pushing this forward to try to make minor adjustments that don't seem to come forward, that it could be seen at a later date. But as it stands, I will not be voting for this. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I am in support of this. You know, one of our jobs is to listen to the community, and there was a survey done recently on Laramie Live about this, and 2/3 of the people that voted were in favor of it, okay? And so if 2/3 weren't, then I give it serious consideration not to consider moving this forward. I think there's a lot of pros. There are some cons, you know, but it's first reading. I think we need to keep working on this, but I see more pros than cons to this. Thank you.
Councillor Shumway.
Thank you, Mayor. This is not the first time we've talked about this idea. This has been going on for years. I think it's probably been going on for at least 15 years, if not more. I appreciate the information that's come to us from the planning and zoning. They were very careful in their deliberation. They were very focused on what their recommendation was to be. I appreciate the staff's suggestions and things like this. What I don't appreciate is the outside pressures that may have come. I will support it for the first reading, but I really believe that this should have been a whole lot more simple than what it ended up being. It became very convoluted, very complex, and to me, anything we can do to improve the ability to communicate through visual signs is a step forward, but I think that we need to be very cautious in whether we open the ability for one company to not only control the entire market, but tell us exactly how and why and where we're going to do the signage within the city of Laramie.
Thank you. Further comment, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I don't really have a strong feeling. I've seen the digital billboards up, and I think a lot of that area is kind of lit up anyway. They are a lot less bright than I thought they would be. However, when I think about the work that zoning and planning did, and looking back on their, revisiting 15.14.120 H2B, and that the non-conforming uses, existing billboards cannot be extended, enlarged, moved, relocated, or otherwise altered. I feel like I need to lean on the expertise of zoning and planning. However, I would also say, and so I feel like I will not be voting in favor of this, but I would also say that I hope that when the city goes out to ask the public in our new plan, that this becomes a specific item that is talked about and addressed with some examples, so people can see that they aren't these bright, bold things, that they're pretty tame, to get updated feedback, because Laramie Live is a great resource, but I know that also doesn't capture everyone as well, and so having multiple sources of feedback, we can bring this forward after that study. If the community says, yeah, we're down with this is great. This can be brought back again, and we can change the ordinance at that time. And so I am leaning toward no, waiting for that study to be completed, and if community is feeling like they want it, then we can bring it back then, but relying on what was previously done and the work of zoning and planning.
Councillor Newman.
Can I ask City Attorney for a clarifying question that I have? When we vote, if this is voted no, isn't there a time limit before it can be brought back? It's 1 year, am I right?
You know what? I don't know. I apologize, but I don't know.
Okay, I thought one year was in my mind, but I wanted to make sure that was right.
I asked about that, and they looked up the code, and it was 1 year.
Counselor Vigil?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I really agree with everything that the Vice Mayor and Councilor Shumway have offered. I don't know if I can support this time for a couple of reasons. One, I don't like feeling pressured by one company to do something some way. I'm just going to be really honest, I'm new to council, so maybe this occurs more often than not. But just some of the tension and the communication that we've received as a council has been not great. At times almost a little bit disrespectful, and so I really haven't appreciated that. So I'd like to, I don't know, when folks talk to me about, what's going on with council, I'm like, oh, fighting about billboards. It's like kind of laughter, but I think it's a real thing that we need to pay attention to, not just because it's this billboard thing that's come up before, right? It's the processes by which we handle city matters, and I think I'd like to take a look at this again, but I'm not feeling great about it right now. Thanks.
Further comment? Councilor O'Doherty.
I think what might come up later is the comprehensive plan, which may get rid of the prohibition about billboards. So it wouldn't be this coming up. It would be a comprehensive plan. And so since so much work went into making those rules in the first place in previous councils before any of us were serving, I don't know, maybe Councilor Shumway was here when those restrictions were made on billboards. But at the time, the community was like, no, we don't want all these billboards. So because of all of their work and the work of the Planning Commission, who were very thoughtful, not necessarily personally opposed to signs, but saying, here's what the rules say. So that's why I'll oppose this. Thanks.
Seeing no further comment, Ms. Beatty, if you could call the roll, please.
Can you clarify what the motion was?
The motion is to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Only absent. Freed.
No.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman. Yes.
O'Doherty.
No.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
No.
Richardson.
No.
Cumby.
No. That motion does not pass. Oh, could you give the count, please?
Yes, that was 3 yeses, 5 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Beatty. That motion does not pass. Item 16, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the City Council approve the second reading of original ordinance number 2105, amending Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 2.28, related to the Parks, Trees, and Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion by Freed, second by Richardson. Good evening.
Good evening again, Honorable Mayor, Council. This being the second reading, I'll be very brief. This is making just some necessary updates and changes to the duties and structure of the Parks, Tree, and Recreation Advisory Board. The board did meet in April and unanimously voted to recommend approval for this. And with that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Questions from council? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Back to council for comments. Councilor Newman.
Director Bork, thanks for taking on so much in your first, couple years here. Yeah, it's not even one, right? Yeah.
Too much.
But the changes that you're making are great for the clarification of the roles and responsibilities to these boards and stuff. So I truly appreciate you really hitting the ground running.
Ditto. Further comments? All right, seeing none, Ms. Beatty, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling absent. Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Yes.
Shumway. Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. That motion passes. And with that, I'll go to public comments on non-agenda items. Seeing none, return to council. Council, is there any consideration for future council work session topics? Councilor O'Doherty.
The vice mayor brought up an opportunity or an idea that Sheridan is doing to have a dump store or something like that. And I would just like us to be able to hear what Sheridan is doing to reduce waste at the landfill. I don't know if it would be feasible cost-wise here, but I think it's worth hearing, where they keep things out of the landfill and resell them.
Okay, so we have 2 people. And that's the idea of a dump store where there's a place out at Solid Waste where people can bring viable items. And I think in Sheridan, $6, you can come pick something up. And so we're just curious, what are they doing? How well does it work? And is it anything we would ever want to consider? Okay. With no further suggestions? Oh, Councilor Freed, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor. I would like a work session on the history of the ranches and maybe moving forward with how we can best utilize the land on the ranches. I know city manager spoke to that a little bit, but in the Ranch Advisory Commission, it's kind of a hot topic as to help us move forward. So I think it might be relevant for the council in the coming weeks, months to maybe get updated on some of the history of the ranch and maybe some of the processes in which we can kind of move forward and utilize that land for our community.
I'd second that.
Councilor Newman?
I have a recommendation, because I would like to put my name on that too, but I think we should invite the Ranch Advisory Board as well. And that way there's, because I'm sure they got great ideas, we got great ideas, so I would like to see that a joint one, and I would second that, or third that, or whatever.
It looks like there's significant support on council for that. City Manager, do you have any comments on that?
No, Council, we're happy to bring you an update on the intentions for the 3-year pause.
Thank you. Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. In regards to that email from Mr. Ian Adams from the Laramie Airport Users Association, we ought to invite them to speak, because he said he's reached out to us before and hasn't heard much, but they'd like to collaborate with us. So I'd love to hear from them and find out what they're doing out there, or have to speak at something for us.
I will second that for now, but you will get an update about that as well through city attorney soon.
All right. So with no further suggestions, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move we adjourn to executive session regarding litigation Wyoming statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman at 3.
Motion by O'Doherty, second by Newman. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned.